do it. First, I want to get to, I think it's Bertha here in California. Bertha, what's going on?
Hi, how you doing?
Doing all right. Thanks for calling to Truth Wanted. What's up?
So, really, this is kind of going to go all over the place, and I need you guys to be super patient with me. And by the way, I love you guys' show. I'm totally new to you guys' show. I just discovered it like a week and a half ago by my friend.
All right.
So I'm from San Francisco, California. From where there's like a whole lot of diversity. And I was raised Catholic, and I was raised in a very Catholic family. My auntie is a nun, and we lived in El Salvador, where we were just surrounded by like church, and everybody loves God. And then we came out here to California, to San Francisco, and as I got older, I started questioning things, and being Catholic just didn't really speak to me. So I started to venture and educate myself on a little bit what more was out there. So I started reading about Buddhism and their teachings. Everything was sounding great. They have some wonderful stuff to learn from. But once I started to attend a temple, and they had like all these, like, I don't even know what they call it, but they worship a whole bunch of, I don't know, gods or warriors. I don't know. That confused me, and that turned me off from it. So I'm just like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't really think Buddhism is for me. They got some good teachings here, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm running out of religious options here. So let me see what what Islam has to offer. So I picked up a Quran, and I started reading, and I'm just like, man, none of these religions are making sense. None of this is speaking to me, and all of this sounds batshit crazy to me. So
Yep.
my call is more so like, because I'm not even going to lie to you. I feel like absolutely like alienated to the point where I feel like very alone. I'm super scared to talk to my family members about what it is that I think about God, and I don't want to offend anybody when I tell them, God might be real, but God also may not be real. And I choose to live my life thanking people who help me out rather than to thank God, who I don't really know exists.
Yeah, so it's tough, Bertha. Like, what you're experiencing right now, I guarantee you it's certainly what I've experienced. I know it's what NotJah's experienced. Tons of people who watch this show every week, it's what they've experienced. So first of all, I want to let you know that you're not alone in your experiences. You're not the first person to think the thoughts that you're thinking when it comes to like, oh, I don't want to offend the people around me with these like new discoveries that I'm going through and like these new thoughts and kind of exploring. So you're not alone. And you've come to the right place. Like we're all about having conversations with people about kind of what we believe and why, and how we come to the conclusions that we do. So my first advice for kind of dealing with that is really think about, where you're at right now versus where you were before, and think about, are you really that different of a person? Because when we talk about this with people, some people are really surprised. They think that in order to have the beliefs that you have to be a certain kind of person, or a person with certain kinds of life experiences. And it sounds like you've been doing a lot of exploration. But for the most part, I am in a lot of ways the same person that I was a few years ago when I was a Christian. Like nothing super terrible happened to me, and then I lost faith in Jesus or anything like that. It wasn't because I wanted to sin or something like that. It was just an exploration of different ideas, and kind of an exploration of logic too, trying to figure out what's true and what's not through that. And so when you realize that, you shouldn't be afraid to speak out about the conclusions you've come to, because they are a part of you and who you are, and you shouldn't be afraid to talk about your beliefs. Like, you wouldn't be offended, I presume, if your friends or your family talked to you about their belief in God, right? Like, we're so used to that in the United States in particular, and just assuming everybody's Christian or assuming everybody has a God belief, that the very idea of not sharing that in some way is almost kind of frightening, because one, we're kind of not like everybody else, but also because like it's kind of radical to some people. Like this is super crazy and like, whoa, there's like no way you could have this belief or that belief or lack of belief. And yet here we are. We exist, and atheists have been around for a long time. And have not always had a great voice to platform some of our own ideas and our own conclusions about stuff. So you shouldn't feel like you don't have a place at the table if you don't feel like your friends and family don't. Right. So, like, I assume that they're going to treat you the same way that you would want them to treat you at first. Right. Until they show you otherwise. Because I guarantee, and I'm sorry to say this, but the more you talk about this with people, there are going to be some people that you're going to rub the wrong way. And it's not going to be anything that you did wrong.
I've already ran into so many of those people. Oh, my goodness. I hate to put like this kind of stuff out there, but I'm offended because I'm just like, you know what? That's cool. You can believe in whatever it is you want to believe, but can you not condemn me to hell because I don't want to believe in what you do?
Yeah.
Like they literally said that I was going to burn in hell.
Oh, yeah.
And I just I don't understand how it is that I am offending someone because I'm the one who's feeling offended by just reading the Quran. You know what I mean? I'm just like, man, this thing is really...
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why they feel offended, okay? Because a lot of people put their religious identity into their personal identity, right? So the fact that you're rejecting their religious beliefs also means that you're rejecting their identity in some way. And so, like, none of us like to have our identities rejected. And so, like, that's when that amygdala response, you know, the first response that our brain kind of goes through, it kind of goes into shutdown mode, like total defense mode. It doesn't think about things rationally, at least not super well. It's just kind of a fight or flight instinct that's going on there because they feel like they're being almost personally attacked by your lack of belief in their belief.
Right.
I guess, you know? So that's why I'm saying, like, don't feel like, because you're going to piss people off no matter what you do. So just like you just kind of have to work with it a little bit and try to be as courteous and kind and patient and respectful as you can be in these conversations so that when those amygdala responses come down a bit and when people aren't as flared up and they start to listen to you, some of them will understand you and some of them will be able to make peace with that. And if you're lucky, some of them may be convinced by your ideas and feel the same way you do at the end of the day. I've gone through the full spectrum of that, Bertha. I've had people tell me I'm going to go to hell, but I've also had people become atheists in part because of conversations they've had with me. So, you know, it goes both ways, and you just kind of have to expect it all.
Okay. So for example, like what? Okay, how would you go about this? Because I am so afraid to like tell all my family that I don't really connect with them in that way. Like say if you were at a table and everybody is out joining hands and they're like, let us pray. And you're the only asshole at the table that's like, you know, I'm not holding anybody's hands and I'm going to keep my eyes open and look around the whole time while you guys do whatever it is you do. But and what if they're trying to force you to do that? Like,
okay.
Like, how is it that you don't? Okay.
Oh yeah. You're man. You've come to the right place. Okay, I'm gonna give you my take on this, and then I want NotJah to speak on this too because I've been talking a long time. But okay, here's my take. Right. So the answer to this question in this specific situation, right, the group prayer thing, the family prayer, the answer is going to be ultimately subjective to how comfortable you are with the process, right? So for me, I grew up Christian vast majority of my life. I can join in, I can say a prayer, and I can just do the whole ritual, and I can just let bygones be bygones, and that's totally fine. Now, my situation is a bit weird because my immediate family knows I'm atheist, but my extended family really doesn't. So when I'm going to extended family gatherings, you know, that might happen, but my immediate family already knows, so they don't ask me to do prayer at the table. You know, they might say, everyone bow your heads, and I'll bow my head, but they're not going to ask me to pray because they already know, like, it's not going to be sincere if I do. So, yeah. So
why would you go on about to even doing the whole thing? Like, what are we doing here? I don't understand.
Because prayer at the table is not the same thing as going out and evangelizing. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
I'm with people that already have these beliefs. And yeah, like, you know, whether or not you choose to participate in that, again, that's going to be up to you, because like, on some level, you are continuing a, you know, some might call it a delusion, right? It's like you feel kind of silly and it doesn't make sense. But at the same time, there's something to the ritual that extends beyond religious belief as well. There is a sense of comfort that comes with that, and there's a sense of unity that comes with that too sometimes. And that's why I'm saying this answer is subjective, because depending on your family situation, the act of prayer at the table is going to be more meaningful to some people than to others. For my family, I think it's more of just a comfort thing. I don't know how seriously they take it. I don't ever see them pray outside of grace at the table, you know? So I know it's kind of more of a ritual. But if it's more meaningful, then that might be something you might want to explore. But, you know, and again, I want to give NotJah the chance to talk to you too, but like, I gotta know. So like, is your whole family Christian? Do you come from a whole, what's your background like?
I come from a Catholic family.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You know, I have my auntie who I haven't spoken to in a couple of years. She's a nun, and she, you know, she goes out there and she does nunly things. I don't really know what all she does. Nunly things. I really don't know what she does, but I'm pretty sure she's out there, you know, doing missions and helping the sick and helping the poor and helping the orphans. And I've actually seen her do some of that work. But yeah, that's kind of my background, you know, religion wise, just Catholic, and I went to all girls Catholic school growing up. You know, it's kind of, this kind of stuff was really dug in there at an early age.
I'll tell you though, Catholic school breeds a lot of atheists. I know a lot of atheists that came out of Catholic school, so you're not the only one there either. NotJah, let me give you a chance here. What I want you to weigh in on this. Do you have any advice for Bertha when it comes to talking about this with her family?
I'll be honest, no. I'm in that position where they don't know. This is why I've got the filter on. This is why I'm an avatar. If you know, there are many possible repercussions for me if they were to find out. So it's one of those things where, yeah, I have the same problem there, where it's tough. I luckily don't do dinner with them, so I don't have to worry about the prayer situation. But normally what I'd do if I was in that situation, it'd be sort of what Dan said, is just go with the motions and let them do their ritual and eat, you know, like.
Yeah.
I suppose it's just the only respectful way to go about it. With, you know, there's no point making any fuss about it. No.
So Bertha, you know, announcing you're an atheist, maybe doing it at the family prayer isn't the best time, right? You don't want to do it right then and there. But I definitely recommend having that conversation at some point, because living your best life to me is living authentically.
I absolutely agree with you on that 100%. And, you know, I tried to talk to somebody in my family, and they're like, well, they quoted the Bible. They said, well, you know what Matthew's some number. And I said, no, I don't know what that says. You know what it says? Obviously you do, because you're bringing it up and that seems to be your favorite one. So go ahead. And they were like, you need God to be in your life, to live a good life. I said, wait, what about the people who don't live a good life? I mean, who don't believe in God and they live a good life? What about those people that are out there donating blood, that are out there helping the poor, that are out there helping their families, helping themselves, and being good people and living a good life? What about them?
Yeah, that's true. And you know, Bertha, doesn't that speak to their idea of someone like you or me? Like, they can't even conceive of what it's like to not have their God belief and live a good life. Like, it's not even a concept.
Right. And it kind of blew my mind, because here they were saying you need God to live a good life. But then I think about the way I'm living my life, and I'm trying to be a good person. And the reason why I really started questioning religious beliefs is because I have children now. I have twin daughters that are 2 years old, and I'm thinking, what am I going to what are they going to grow up believing? What am I going to teach them? And I'm mad as hell that these people are teaching me some batshit crazy stuff that makes no sense, that I have no good evidence for. And in my head, I'm like, that is not how I'm going to raise my children. I'm going to raise my children to be logical thinkers who have evidence, who don't sound crazy when they talk, because a lot of these people sound crazy to me.
Yeah. A good friend of mine, Anthony Magnabosco, has a family. He has kids, and those kids are some of the best kids. I mean, they're smart. They're happy when I see them. They volunteer with a lot of stuff. They do a lot of great things, and they don't believe in God at all. They never grew up with a God belief. And I had no idea that a family like that could have even existed, or at least existed and looked like his family. And so it's totally out there.
Right.
It's just it's not traditional. It's not something that at least our country has a lot of years and experience seeing, especially in the mainstream. So for some people it's going to be difficult to even know what that's like. But I'm glad that you're thinking about this with your kids, because you're right. Your kids they're going to develop their own beliefs, and they're going to think about things their own way. And yeah, you can guide them, but ultimately I think you would agree that you would want them to come to their own conclusions because they found it to be true, not because you thought it to be true, right?
Right. And it just really kind of like blew my mind the other day, because they were telling me that you need God to have these beliefs, and if you don't have God, then we'll pray for you, and kind of like it basically saying things like poor you, and
right.
Why can't you just believe in something higher than yourself? And it's just, it really got me, that I was just like, what, there's these people, I want to live a good life. I want to do it without, having to go this way. And this is the route that I'm going to take. And it doesn't really matter how good of a person I feel like being. I still feel like they think, or that they know where I'm going to end up when I die.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why is everybody so obsessed with that?
Yeah, because they're afraid too. They're afraid that they could be like you. In other words, they could lose their God belief, and they could live just as good of a life. And this whole thing that this charade they've been doing for their entire lives was worth jack shit at the end of the day.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah,
I was just thinking that. I'm like, man, how much time are you investing in all of this? And how bad are you making yourself look, and whatever it is that you belong to or relate to, and then coming home at the end of the day, and imagine, like, say if you did die and you just become dust, and something that the earth takes into, or a good energy that floats around, or a bad energy, or whatever, who knows? The party is over.
Yeah, well, Bertha,
this is all that I did.
Yeah, this is something. Maybe you've heard of this.
For?
Maybe you've heard of this. It's called the sunk cost fallacy. It's this idea that people will ultimately defend and rationalize beliefs or things because they put so much time or resources into something. They'll continue to go for, like, business owners who are losing their business to all kinds of debt, but they still believe in the idea, so they don't know how to cut ties. Or with religious beliefs that are or cult beliefs that are so crazy that they spend their whole lives defending it, and now they feel like they have no choice but to defend it. You can apply this concept with other people's religious beliefs in general. So I think you're hitting the nail right on the head there, Bertha. And I'm glad that you're kind of figuring this stuff out. I know it's got to be pretty overwhelming, but there's lots of Facebook groups out there. There's lots of other people to talk to about this. I don't know how you want to approach this problem, this idea of, letting your beliefs out. Cause I know you want to tell people, like, I know it's exciting, right? That you're figuring this stuff out. But my suggestion is one-on-one conversations are best. But I mean, if you want to do a Facebook post about it, that's cool too. But people will talk. People will talk behind your back. It just happens. And so you just got to be prepared for that if you want to go that far.
Okay. So can I ask, I have like a series of like 4 questions that are straight up like super easy to answer. I just really don't know this.
You know what? I will give you time because this is obviously super new, and you want to learn a lot here, and so yeah, I'll give you some extra time. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much. Oh my God. And, you know, here I was super nervous because I hear you guys beating up on people all the time, like your ass is on hold and hey, shut up. And I'm like, dude, I love it when you guys do that. I love it, but I don't want it to happen to me.
I'll tell you what, yeah, you see a lot more of that on some of the other shows. I don't typically do that as much here on Truth Wanted, although every once in a while it does happen, but not for you, Bertha. That's all right. So go ahead. What else do you want to know?
Okay, so is it true that if you're not a Christian, you know, the Christians are going to think, hey, you're going to
hell? Is it true that Christians, what are you saying? That I am going to go to hell? Because I don't think I'm going to go to hell.
No. I'm just wondering because I made a joke the other day, and I don't know if my joke even made sense because I told somebody, I said, well, you know, the way I feel is the way I feel, and I don't really believe in any of this, but you know, if you put everybody in a circle and you say, well, you know, Christians, they think you're going to go to hell, and Muslims think I'm going to go to hell, and Jews think I'm going to go to hell, and well.
I'm still not sure exactly what the question is, although Jews specifically don't have a hell belief. And, you know, you find a lot of variance within Christianity. I think maybe what you're asking is it true in Christianity that you're going to go to hell? And in some forms of Christianity, yes, absolutely. But Christianity is a wide range of different theologies and philosophies. So there are some Christians that will say, hey, once saved, always saved. You know, the fact that Jesus Christ died for you once and you believe that one time, that's enough. There's some people that say you have to continue to believe. There's some people that say you have to keep being baptized or confessing your sins in order to avoid that. So it depends on the Christian sect specifically. I'm assuming that's what your question is.
Talking about hell as well, J-dubs don't believe in hell at all.
Yeah.
And they're Christian sect. So.
Bertha, you still there? Uh-oh. Bertha, if you are still there, I am going to go ahead and return you back to the queue to see if our audio engineers can keep talking to you, because I really like the conversation we were having. If not, feel free to call back because you got a lot of questions. And you know what? Why not? I'm willing to give extra time to a caller who's kind of new to this whole thing and wants to know some stuff, because like that's what we're here for, right? We want to be able to help each other out. NotJah, what did you think of Bertha and describing her experiences?
Oh, she's obviously on the right path. That's it's always scary, that's for sure. Because you don't, especially when you're coming out of where everyone else is a believer, it's very intimidating. Even if you're not in a particularly strong, like, you know, I'm not from the Bible Belt, for example. I can only imagine how much more intimidating it would be, just even in America, with how vitriolic some people can be for their Christianity.
And
I mean, all the luck to you, I suppose.
Absolutely. It's scary being a trailblazer. You know, nobody wants to be like Jackie Robinson had a hard time being, you know, a black baseball player. You know, like that's hard to do, being the first one in your community to kind of be out there and deal with what you have to deal with. Like it's generally not a good time. I was listening today about the history of transgender surgeries, and I was like, wow, can you imagine being the first person to get a transgender surgery, like to do that for yourself? Like how wild must that be? But like also there is this desire to be true to yourself and to be authentic. And I think for us, that means speaking out and talking about the stuff that we've come to, you know, and the journeys that we've gone on. So yeah, I support that, Bertha. I support your right to express yourself and figure out where you're going to go from here. And I think we got Bertha back on here. So I'm going to put you back on talk here. There we go. Bertha, can you hear us?
Hi. Yes.
Cool.
Hi.
All right. So we've been talking about you.
Great.
So I think, so did we answer your hell question? Because I just want to know if we got to that sufficiently.
I got cut off. I had no idea if you guys heard what I said.
Okay. Well, just for time's sake, maybe if you want to look at that in the recording later, because I think we gave a good answer to that question. But if you had other questions you wanted to ask us, feel free.
Okay, great. No, actually, that was pretty much everything that I wanted to get off of my chest, and I just wanted to reach out to a community that, who has the kind of like the same beliefs that I have, who's been feeling lonely, and I'm just like, okay, well, I guess I'm not. I guess I'm not alone and thinking what I'm thinking.
You're definitely not alone, and you're not the first person, and you're not the last person to go through this. So just be reassured through that. My recommendation is come hang out with me and some other folks on Discord afterwards. If you know how to work Discord, we kind of do an after show. We can come talk to you a bit more. If you're watching the YouTube live chat, I'm sure some people have some great resources for you. But yeah, there's tons of people who are willing to help you out through what you're going through. Like I personally love it when I hear stories like yours, Bertha, because not only does it remind me of myself and my own journey, but it also gives me a chance to just help other people through my own experiences and say, hey, yeah, I know firsthand what this is like. Here's what I wish somebody would have told me when I was going through this. So definitely super glad that you called in, Bertha. And I would love to talk to you again in the future. So I hope you have a good rest of your night, and I will hopefully hear from you soon. That was a really awesome call. I'm glad we got to have that conversation. What do you think, NotJah?
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.